Hello. When I'm recording our lecture, so after our last week, we talked the risk management, and then we move on like to about maybe some security side principle. And before that, I would like to let you know, just helping you to do slightly a revision. So I post a quiz, so you can do the quiz. And this quiz is pretty short. Okay, it only contains 10 questions, and just help you to like if you watch the Zoom video, or if you go through the like some lab or the lecture, so that those questions won't be that difficult. Okay, actually pretty straightforward, common sense. Okay, so just like helping you, so just like keep tracking your progress and knowing you just like following. So pretty easy. So I will give you like 2 weeks time. You can do the quiz and without any time limitation. So that one is like for revision purpose. Okay, make sure you get some concept, have some idea, and that's it. Okay, and when I move on. So for today's lecture is about the security design principle. Okay, for the design principle, we have of course we have several like principles, and then mainly we'll have like simplicity and restriction. Okay, and based on these different type of principle, including the least privilege, you may hear a lot. Okay, even to our like IN. Okay, so and then the fail-safe default, economy of mechanism, computer mediation, or like open design, separation of privilege and least common mechanism, and the least astonishment. And when we move on one by one, so we have the simplicity, so always less to go on. So when we design like all those security measures, like try to keep it as most simple as possible, then it can avoid when we have a less issue and less problem to be like go on like this. And then we have like few possible like inconsistency. So this is important because when we, especially for our policy setting, when we make it more complicated, then it may be easy to conflict, like cause conflict between two different policies. So always, so make it consistent and easy to understand. Okay, and another thing is called the restriction. Okay, always the idea we are applying minimize the access. Okay, so this privilege is same idea. So always just give the obtain them as less as possible, minimize their access. Okay, maybe let's only read or like certain item. Okay, if they need to gain more access, then they need to apply for it, try to grant the permission like this. And also like in hybrid communication, so all this. And we move on like our least privilege, we talk about a lot. So always saying, so the subject should be given only those privilege like necessary to complete its task. Okay, so maybe the functions, or they're not identity, certain control, all this. And then also they have the right. Okay, so we can add the right as needed. So if they need to access certain, as we said, if they really need to access certain file, directory, documents, okay, or like perform certain action, then they need to request for it and then add into it. Okay, so after they use it, then they we can discard the use. Okay, so this one we try to doing the minimal protection domain. Okay, so this is the idea for the least privilege. And we have the least authority, so it's like kind of like related. So the principle of the least authority, the polar, so we consider kind of same as a principle of the least privilege. Okay, but there's slightly distinction. Okay, so what's the distinction between the least privilege and least authority? Okay, so the permission control will be those that subject can do to the object directly. Okay, so mainly it's about the permissions, and then another the authorization would be like control the influence a subject they over an object. So it can be directly or indirectly or through other subjects. So getting the authority, so it's like control. So what's the influence? Those like subject, okay, over that object. So like this. And fail safe default. So it kind of like just a default action. So it's like to deny the asset. Okay. So if they have certain action, like if you want to maybe we say log in and then go to certain account like this. So if this action fails, then the system is like secure. So when the action begin like this. So we try to set up, it's like called a fail safe default. So the default action, so it's try to deny the access. So that's the idea. So once it fails, then we just able to secure. So maybe if you set up the your web server, API server, maybe one of the application we use like called the fail to ban. Okay, so if you fail to or one mechanism is when you try to type your password first time, second time, third time, then they will reject it. So they will maybe some other security like follow-up security they require. Maybe you're not allowed to access within 1 day, or they will sending an email to your they link email account. Maybe you need to reset your password like this. So this one is kind of fail-safe default. And economy of a mechanism. So same idea is called keep it as simple as possible. So we call it keep simple. Okay, keep it simple as possible. And simpler, it means that less can go wrong. So similar idea like the simplicity. Okay, so when the error occurs, then it will be easier to understand to fix. So we maybe try to create some sort of interface or like giving a better interaction between like this. So the reason for economy of the mechanism, because when it's simple, it's easy to implement, less cost. Okay, so here's the same idea. And for the compute methodization, so we'll be like we will check every access. So usually when they done it once and then on the first action, okay. So just like in Unix system, so we will access, they'll check on open, if like not check on the after. So like this. Maybe if you access maybe as a sudo or root, if you did try to do it in this way, then maybe you try to use a sudo and then perform certain action, they'll ask you to get the password. Okay. And after you input the password, then you don't have to do it later. So sometimes they do have some session time. So like after a certain period of time, then you need to repeat, like type the password one more time. Okay. So if the permission like change after, so they may get unauthorized access like this. So you need to like get the access one more time, input one more time. So this one is called a compute manipulation. So this the idea is like we try to check the access, but after we compute it's done, then we keep it for a while. Okay, maybe it's like certain session time. So it's called a compute manipulation. And open design. So open design is the security. So it's like they shouldn't depend on the security of the design or implementation. So this one will be kind of like the popular like misunderstood to mean like because the source code should be public. Okay. So the security through the obscurity. Okay. So we try to like not apply some to the information, maybe the password or cryptographic keys. So this one. So try to not mix up with it. So when we design the security itself, so try not to depend on it. Okay. Or like the implementation. Okay. So you need to be careful because even we know the source code, right? You say, we need to like be into like open to public. No, we are not doing this. Okay. So try to like emphasize security through the obscurity. So like this. So it's like the idea for open design and open-end, more like this idea. And then the separation privilege. So here this pretty straightforward. So you need to require multiple conditions to grant the privilege. So then maybe you have like separation of the duty or defense in div. Okay. So here's will be the example like if you are the admin and if you are the regular user, you are maybe the owner of the company, maybe your department head or your manager. Okay, so even if you are the manager, but you are not taking care of some like technical part, maybe you are still not yet able to like access some maybe like in deep access of the system like this. So we differentiate the depth is like if you are like taking care of technical, then maybe you try to get more like advanced like access way of a system. But if you're a regular, maybe most of them maybe just a regular user employee, you have the least privilege, you are not really able to like access more details. Okay, maybe manager level, yes, they can slightly more, but compared with the like technical support, like they will have a really full control, maybe like this. So this we call the separation of the privilege. So it depends on their duty, okay, position. Then we have different access. Okay, so try to get their condition to get the privilege. Okay, if they are like working for this position and then what's their duty, they need to that kind of things, then they are allowed to access certain directory folders or perform certain action like this. And then the least common mechanism. So this mechanism, like they try to like shouldn't be shared. So we are trying to share it. So those like information only can fall shared channel or converged channel. Okay. So the example maybe doing maybe we are trying to like have some like kind of idea like similar to like VPN or like personal network, something like this, or the channel we share like in different location, company, or like subcompany like this. Okay, and isolation we try to maybe have some like called a virtual machine or sandbox, and those like when we create those isolation environment, so we can like try to perform in this way. And we move on, we have the least astonishment. So this one is the security mechanism. So it's like try to design for the user if they understand why the mechanism works the way it does. And also we try to make the mechanism simple. Okay, so maybe we can try to hide the complexity like introduced by the security mechanism. So like in behind, it can be really like complex, really difficult, like hard to, but when we try to apply it, so we try to make it like ease of installation, configuration, and use. Okay, so maybe the idea when you try to access like build one thing because a human factor is kind of critical is like why is let's say I try to create the AWS and then easy to then know, and then of course you have the your account and password, right? And then when you want to apply the key, you don't have to really know actually the RSA key, what's the asymmetric, how it works, and then how many runs like to enrich it. It doesn't matter. Okay, you don't have to care. But it's that you just like check it and then download the certificate, then you can use it. Okay, as I said, so you just like give an example. How can you like attach the your certificate to connect to your server, and that's it. So here's the idea of least astonishment. So it's like the user just like okay need to just know why it works, why how it works, and then try to use it easily, like simple. Then it's okay. So you know like why we using the RSA. Okay, we have giving us like high security safe connection, and but we don't have to know how complexity in behind. So it's okay. And these are actually they're one related. It's called psychological acceptability. So this mechanism also try to say, okay, try not to. So we should not add the difficulty of access the resource. Sometimes in a company say, okay, because we want to like protect our information, data, resources. So we say we increase the capacity, so make it really hard. Okay, you need to take it like first we need to gain the access from maybe certain account, and then after this account we need to grant certain key like this. So that's not a good idea. So it would be the idealistic or like most of the mechanism, or sometimes like the difficulty. Okay, it's like Even we just like remember the password is really hard to us. Like maybe we need tab passwords or combine. So all these like the principle of the list of transmission. So kind of accept this is like we'll ask whether the difficulty is unexpected or like too much for whatever population of the user. So we need to think about that. Okay. And quickly, because all this like security design, nothing really complicated, and here's the idea. And when we design for this like principle called the security design, so just underline all the security related mechanism, just like we need to have a good understanding of a goal of mechanism and the environment to be used. And we need to analyze and design carefully and implement them like really carefully. Because I think this part is a pretty short topic and we don't have a really actual practice. Like say, okay, let's design something, but we mainly need to know the the idea. What are those like principle? Always I follow all this, and then you need to know the names, and it's good enough. Okay. Like when we design, so we which one we need to follow, but in actual practice, okay. So you maybe combine several all these like principle or like taking their advantage. You see, they are pretty similar, and we always go for like simplicity. Okay, least and when we try to implement okay something really complex, so we may be high because we have the human factor. Okay, then we just follow, okay, because like maybe human factor will affect a lot, then how can we make it more simple and less go wrong? Okay, maybe by default, how can we if something goes wrong, then how can we have like certain action like secure the system? Okay, so this we're going to do. Just need to know keep in mind, we are not saying okay you must make apply either one of them, but or like only use one of it, but you can mix them together, taking the advantage and combine them together. So it's totally fine. Okay, it's a pretty short lecture for this part. So and that's it for today's week. And as what I say, we have the quiz, just like checking if you are watching the videos and have a like kind of understand of your some lectures idea or even the lab. Okay, and suppose that if you watch the video and look at the notes, then suppose you are okay to answer those questions. And then coming soon we have a new lecture also. I know maybe the spring break, and also we have the also you have a long essay, so I try not to overlap. So even we have I cannot say it's a kind of a midterm, but it's another, you can treat it as a quiz or midterm. So it's like slightly more question, and there are multiple choice, just like slightly more question and cover all our previous lectures. Like because so far we have one more week, we sit with 8, and after that all the the topics will be covered. Okay. But for the another question, like I say, kind of like for the midterm, then it will has the time limit. Okay, and I will give you I will give a notice earlier and then make it available for 1 week, so you can arrange your time if you want to study, prepare for it. Then of course, like, but I need to tell you earlier, so at least you have some time to like prepare, study, and then go through all these questions. But similar format, and it won't be that like tricky question. I'm not like giving some tricky question, but at least you have some idea like what you learn or have some concept like remember, because we need to follow the syllabus. And that's it for today's class. Thank you.